almost to 1,000,000 likes. If you just hit that like button, you'll get me a one step closer to it. Somebody asked me the other day, how do you know what stories you're going to tell when you do your podcast? And I thought about it for a second. And I guess it's just because when you're a storyteller, you don't have to put a lot of thought into that. I've been telling stories about my life pretty much my entire life. But I do have a little system where when I think of a story, I mean, I'm telling stories on a podcast, and that is, brings a little bit of focus to the situation. But I'm still telling stories in real life. I'm still out there, like, oh, that reminds me of a time. And then I start telling stories. And sometimes I'll do that. And then somebody will say, you should tell that story on your podcast. So then I'll write it down. And I've got like, I don't know, probably 15 running lists of stories that am eventually going to tell. And yeah, it brings a little bit of focus when you have to do it like in front of a camera and you're like, okay, how am I going to tell this story? A little bit of those thoughts, but mostly it just kind of flows. And I'm getting a system down now to where I can just set up the camera. I mean, my studio isn't even all the way put together. I'm not all the way ready to, make podcast yet. I have a whole lot of work to do, but it doesn't matter because I can just sit down and record. And so the recording and the editing part I am set up for. And but eventually this is just going to keep evolving and like, just building the studio and being able to tell stories and do interview style. So today's story is about when I climbed to the top of a 30-foot telephone pole and then it fell over. So here's how it goes. My core trade, the thing that I've been doing all of my life is that I'm an electrician. I work for the power company now, but this is back when I was an apprentice. My father had a two separate services going to his house. One went to the house and one went to the garage. And so he wanted to um, cut down the line that went across the area he designated as a basketball court to his garage. And then he would eventually bury the electric underground to feed the garage. But for now, he wanted that gone. He wanted the meter gone. He just wanted to do away with it. So I told the guy I'm working with, the apprentice, I'm the apprentice, and I told my journeyman, hey, my dad wants this cut down. So he's an old timer. His name was JR. JR said, well, we'll just swing up there and we'll cut that down. I said, perfect. So after work, we swung by my dad's house and pulled the van right up to this pole in the yard. And JR started getting, they're called gaffs. They're climbing spurs, maybe was what some people know them as, but they're called gaffs. And they go around your leg and they have a spike that sticks down beside your foot. And so he starts pulling these out of the truck. Well, I had never even seen gaffs before. I mean, I'm sure I saw somebody climbing a pole, but I never thought how. I just figured there's something on his shoe, so I didn't even really know what I was looking at. And then he hands them to me. He says, here, put those on. And I'm like, what, huh? So I just did what I was told. My father is standing right there watching this whole thing. Now, he must just assume that we know what we're doing and everything's going to be fine. And I'm like, all right. So I'm strapping these things onto my leg and around my boot, cinching them up. Figured out how to put them on. But I said, hey, JR, I don't know how to do this. He's like, yeah, you're going to be fine. You're just going to climb up there and cut that and get down here. I'm like, I don't know what he's just go on. No instructions, just kind of like what I came up in a time where when you got bossed around, you got bossed around. You got yelled at and called names, made fun of when you messed up. And so there was a lot of pressure, like just to do what you're told. So I did, against my better judgment, walked up to this pole and got my hands around it. Now, there's no safety belt, there's none of that. There's literally just me holding onto the pole. I jam one of those gaffs into the pole, put some weight on it. I'm like, oh, jam the next one in, put some weight on it. And it was kind of surprisingly easy, although I was still scared. Well, I get about, I don't know, I'm just going to say 6 or 8 feet up off of the ground, climbing up this pole in my gaffs. Now I know it's called gaffing out. But my gaffs were starting to like slide. And I'm like, oh man, holding the pole. And I'm like, so either I wasn't digging in right, or that pole was rotted. That pole was a mess. So it was, the integrity of it wasn't really there. So I go another probably, 2 or 3 feet up, and I'm still gaffing out. And I'm, oh my gosh. So I start to protest. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I feel like, and so he's yelling at me, oh my gosh, oh my, climb up that pole. And he's just giving me the what for. I said, man, I can't do it. So I climbed back down. He's mad. He's like, take damn things off and get the ladder. So fortunately, I did bail, because what happens next? I would say there's not a whole lot of people on the planet that have experienced this. We take the ladder, extend it, slam it against the pole. And he yells at me, now get up there, cut that thing and get down. So I have a pair handheld cutters in my hand, and I climb the ladder. Now I was good at climbing ladders, but I got all the way up there. And what I'm getting ready to cut is something called triplex. And it's just these 3 wires that are kind of just wrapped around each other. And so I've got to cut them all 3. And I cut the first one, and the part that cut kind of unraveled a little bit is the other 2 tightened up. And I'm like, that doesn't seem right. And I cut the next one. It did the same thing, and that third one's like a tightrope now. And it hits my mind. Man, I wonder, like, is this thing, what's happening here? So I yelled down to JR, hey, JR, I think this line's holding up this telephone pole. And he yells up at me, you cut that line. That line cannot hold up that pole. Just cut it and get down here. Of course, a bunch of names and swearing went at me. My dad's standing there like, he doesn't know how to feel about what's happening. So, again, against my better judgment, I just cut it. And the world started like 30 feet in the air. The world is now changing directions on me. Like I have no real reference point. Well, the pole is falling over. Now, I'm 18 years old at the time, and I'm falling and making instinctive survival decisions. What I did was toss those cutters out of my hand, and a split second later, I leaped off of that ladder, and I'm midair like this, and I'm falling all the way to the ground. Fortunately, it was all grass in that area. So when I hit, I just somehow, just being, youthful, instinctive, I don't know, I tucked and rolled, and I stood right back up. And I was like, oh gosh, I told you that line was holding up that pole. His eyes are this big around. My father thought he just saw his son fall to his death. There's a whole telephone pole laying on the ground. It's sparking from the rest of the lines that were on. And he was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? I'm like, I think so. Well, I had hit my elbow on the handheld cutters when I landed. I didn't realize I did, except that it had a little piece of meat missing out of my elbow and it was bleeding. Well, it was a wild like experience, but it really wasn't the thing that surprised me because JR had me doing things like this all the time. I'm going to tell you about one more. I'm going to tell you about the time that I had to change a light bulb above a swimming pool. Okay? Because JR and I were on a side job and we had this guy Keith that worked with us, Big Keith, and we were all wiring up this barn, and they came out, the homeowners, they had an indoor swimming pool, and they came out and asked if we could change the light bulb above the indoor swimming pool. Now, the thing to do, even back then, you can get these telescopic poles, and it has this like basket thing on it that, like, when you put it around, you can push it up and you put it around a light bulb, it'll kind of grip the light bulb and you can just unthread it. It stays in the basket, you bring it back down. But we didn't have one of those. But we could have got one for pretty cheap. JR says, sure, come on, boys. Me, Keith. We walk over to inside this big pool room. And JR is looking up at that. And he tells me, go get that ladder. I'm like, go get the ladder? There's nowhere to put a ladder. It's a flat ceiling with a light bulb right in the center of it. And the pool, the swimming pool is beneath it. And I'm like, again, I just do what I'm told. I'm like, go get the ladder? I don't even know what is he thinking. I went and got the ladder, brought it back, came inside. Keith and JR have taken off their boots and their shirts and jumped in that swimming pool in their jeans. They're standing in waist-high water beneath the light bulb. He tells me, pass that ladder. I pass the ladder into the swimming pool. And I'm standing like, well, what are you guys going to do? He said, get your boots off. I'm like, what? What? I'm involved in this? What do you mean get my boots off? Get them boots off. So reluctantly, I'm taking my boots off, take my shirt off, and then here I go, jumping in the swimming pool with my jeans on. So JR had went and got a light bulb while I was getting the ladder. And Keith is holding the ladder like this. And JR is on the other side holding the ladder like this. The ladder's just straight up. It's resting against Keith in the water, and JR's holding it. And he says, now, to me, he says, climb that ladder and change that light bulb. I'm like, oh, God, that's so high. He hands me the fresh light bulb. I tuck it down into my pants. And here I go. I climbed all the way to the top of that ladder when it's holding it in the water. And I'm at the top. And I'm like, oh gosh, I'm unscrewing this light bulb. And I like just drop it into the water, reach into my pants, grab the new light bulb. Oh gosh. I threaded in the light bulb. It came on. I'm like, okay, here we go. And so I just climbed back down. Now, I know you thought, man, did you fall in that water? Why didn't you just jump? I guess I could have, but I was terrified, scared out of my gore. So, yeah, this is the kind of shenanigans that JR would get me into all the time. Thanks for listening. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, tell your friends about it.